Okay.
Okay. Well, good evening, folks. Again, welcome to our March 16th, 2021 public council meeting. And we'll start her off with the adoption of agendas and minutes. First, the adoption of the meeting agenda for March 16th, 2021. Moved by Deputy Mayor Murphy, second by Councillor Bursey. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Adoption of the meeting minutes of March the 2nd, 2021.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Tilley, second by Councillor Butler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Next, business arising from previous minutes. There being none. Visitors, presentations, and petitions. I have two petitions here tonight. Sorry, I have two presentations, proclamations here tonight. The first one is Purple Day. I'll ask our viewing audience to give me a second. I have to go out to see if I can get this on another device without causing too much trouble. Okay, the first one is proclamation Purple Day for Epilepsy, March 26th. Whereas Purple Day is a global effort dedicated to promoting epilepsy awareness in countries around the world, and whereas Purple Day was founded by 9-year-old Cassidy Megan of Nova Scotia, who wanted to let people know that if you have epilepsy, you are not alone, and whereas epilepsy is one of the most common neurological conditions, estimated to affect over 10,000 people in Newfoundland and Labrador, and over 300,000 people in Canada, and 50 million people worldwide. And whereas 1 in 10 persons will have at least one seizure during his or her lifetime, and whereas the public is often unable to recognize common seizure types or how to respond with appropriate first aid, and whereas Purple Day will be celebrated on March 26th annually to increase understanding, reduce stigma, and improve the quality of life for people with epilepsy throughout the country and globally. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Terry French, Mayor of Conception Bay South, do hereby proclaim March 26th as Purple Day in an effort to raise awareness and understanding of epilepsy and to support all those who live with seizures each day. Dated the 16th day of March 2021, Terry French. Isn't that something amazing? 10,000 people in Newfoundland and Labrador. Wow. Okay, the next one I have is Easter Seals. Easter Seals Month, March 2021. Whereas approximately 79,000 people of all ages in our province live with disabilities such as physical, sensory, cognitive, or other disabilities which present barriers to full participation in society. And whereas Easter Seals Newfoundland and Labrador is a charitable organization with a mission to engage, inspire, and empower by providing life-changing programs and services for persons with disabilities of all ages and helping to build a world where all persons with disabilities live full, active, and healthy lives. And whereas Easter Seals recreation and therapy programs help those with disabilities explore what they can do through independence camps, art and music therapy, and adaptive sports, promoting full, active, and healthy, socially engaged lifestyles. And whereas Easter Sealed offers career services programs to assist those with barriers to employ transition successful from home and school into adulthood and independence, with a focus on preparing for, obtaining, and maintaining gainful employment. And whereas Easter Seals Disability Awareness Program activates foster disability awareness and sensitivity and provide tools for accessibility and inclusion. And therefore I, Mayor Terry French, do hereby proclaim March 2021 as Easter Seals Month in the town of Conception Bay South, signed at the Town Hall in Conception Bay South, Newfoundland on the 16th day of March 2021. Thank you very much. Okay, now without further ado, we'll move to new business. So we'll start off with Deputy Mayor Murphy.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. No, I don't have anything for this evening's meeting. Thank you for asking. No.
Next, Councillor Uden.
Nothing here this evening, Your Worship. Thank you.
Councillor Tilley.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just got one item to bring forward. Just want a friendly reminder to residents, especially those in the area of Hines Road, of the 10-unit housing application that's currently underway. We kindly ask if people do have any questions or concerns and would like to submit any of those said concerns, if they kindly do so by March 25th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. Councillor Hillier.
Yes, Your Worship. As you're aware, Your Worship, we've got a strong arts community here in Conception Bay South. It's something that's growing. It's something that's traditionally been strong here, and in fact, we've included the arts in our forthcoming recreation and cultural master plan, which is ongoing as we speak. With that in mind, Your Worship, just want to congratulate one of those residents involved in the arts, and that's musician Justin Fancy. I just want to read from an article in Conception Bay Living this month. It says, Justin snagged 2 top honors at February's Music NL Awards, Country Artist of the Year and Rising Star of the Year. The first time in the history of the organization that the same artist has won both awards in the same year. So I want to congratulate Justin on that and wish him best of luck in the rest of his career.
Congratulations, Justin Fancy. Councillor Bent.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one thing this evening. I just want to throw a bouquet out to one of our residents, actually a number of our residents, but in particular, Carla Crotty, for her effort to bring little free pantries to Conception Bay South. And of course, it's not a new idea, but it is here in this town. And it was born out of the wanting to help others and to donate, and found that it might be a little bit restrictive in some ways at different times of the year. And of course, when you're faced with an issue, you can ignore it or work with it. And she worked with it and come up with the pantries idea, and have a number of people, including the scouts, involved building them. And it's where neighbors can help neighbors, and it's an initiative where people can donate food items and put them in the little pantries that are located in some areas of town. I believe there's one in Calgary right now, and there's others being worked on. And of course, it's one of those things where we're really good here in Conception Bay South of looking out for each other and helping each other. And this is a great initiative. And I guess Conception Bay Living is getting a double promotion this week. Rex mentioned one, but there's Carla Crotty on the front page of the issue that I have here. And Carla brought the concept of little free pantries to Conception Bay South. And I want to throw a bouquet out to her and thank her for that. It's a great effort, and I look forward to doing some donations myself. And hopefully it's an initiative that will catch on and people will be able to benefit from it throughout the town, because COVID-19 has posed a lot of issues for a lot of people. And the one thing that we want to make sure of is that everybody has enough to eat, and that there's lots there to do. And the food bank, of course, operates. That's great. But any help when it comes to that sort of thing, to get food around to different people and to have it accessible in different parts of the community is fantastic. So thank you very much, Carla, and the scouts and everybody that's worked with here to get this off the ground and going here in CBS. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Ben. Yeah, that's not Carla's first endeavor into social enterprise or assisting. She's several items she's taken on now. Good for her. Good citizen to have here in this town for sure. Next, we have Councillor Bursey.
Yes, Your Worship. Just like to follow up on an update on the Wind Office Committee. At the last meeting, I mentioned about planning for many virtual programming events. Most of these are now finalized. All virtual events are being advertised in the Shoreline and through the town's social media platforms. Be sure to check out the town's website for the full event details and to register for any of the exciting events and programs that are planned. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Bursey. Councillor Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to reiterate Councillor Bent's comments on Carla, little free pantries that are in CBS, they do have their own Facebook page, and they usually post when they've been filled up again and whatnot, and also includes the name of a contact for each one of the pantries where you can drop food off to in the case where the pantry may well be filled at the moment. And also, thanks to all residents who participated in the food drive that was at Topsy United Church last 2 Saturdays ago now, I think. And of course, the food bank is very appreciative, and so are everybody in the Chatham CBS. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Councillor Butler. Councillor Davis.
Yes, Your Worship, I have a couple of things. First, in the last 3 months, we have been blessed with some great weather and have seen increased uptake on the trailway throughout the town. There have been over 71,000 counts captured along the route. You may have noticed some new signage reminding folks to keep to the right when meeting other people on the trail to ensure social distancing. We also remind users to please scoot when enjoying the trails with their four-legged friends. I got a kudos here to staff. The Grossmore Institute of Sustainable Tourism recently hosted a webinar titled The Opportunities of Trails on March 10th. The presenter was a lady named Jane, who is a highly regarded trail tourism and community development consultant with nearly 20 years working in the industry across Canada. Jane and facilitator Jonathan, executive director, offered a shout out of congratulations to the town of Conception Bay South for their innovative and highly effective tourism itinerary workshop. They noted that the workshop and resulting itineraries were exactly what every community and region should be doing, and the format should be held up as a model for future itinerary building workshops across Atlantic Canada. Our tourism itineraries can be found on the town's website on the tourism page. This is a great accolade to our town staff and our CBS Tourism Committee for the work that they have done and continue to do to capitalize on tourism opportunities and development within our town. Kudos to all the staff involved. For me, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Yes, good stuff for sure. No, I'm not going to bring too much talk to the equation tonight. I guess I wanted to mention a couple of things I've already mentioned, so we'll move right along. So next on the agenda, recommendations of the Planning and Development Committee Chair, Councillor Rex Hiller.
Yes, Your Worship, these are recommendations brought forth from our March 9th, 2021 Planning and Development Committee meeting. Number 110 Lawrence Pond Road West. Be it so resolved that application number 21-007 received on January 21st, 2021, seeking approval of an equestrian business at 110 and 110A Lawrence Pond Road West be refused in accordance with Council's discretionary authority at section 10.8 of the town's development regulations, as an animal use is not listed as a permitted or discretionary use within the residential low density zone. And Council's discretionary authority at section 4.6 of the town's development regulations, given that the portion of the business located within the rural zone does not comply with section 10.27.7 of the town's development regulations that requires businesses open to the public to front onto a public road. And further, be it so resolved that the town requests that the equestrian business operating from 110 and 110A Lawrence Pond Road cease operations, given that no development approval of the business has been granted by the town in accordance with section 410 of the town's development regulations. So moved.
I'll second that.
Councillor Tilley, discussion.
Yes, Your Worship, this is a business that's been operating for some time that we've just become aware of. And at this point in time, the business does not comply with a bunch of our development regulations, and we're unable to give them a permit to operate, and we're asking them to cease operations.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Your Worship, number 2, proposed development regulations amendment. I'm going to pass this off to Councillor Kirk Uden to bring forward this evening.
Councillor Uden.
Yes, Your Worship. As we've just consulted the public and received quite a lot of feedback on the proposed development regulation changes with regards to accessory buildings, specifically at our park down in Long Pond. There are some use changes that were, I guess, a little bit not specifically spelt out in terms of outdoor congregations and so forth with regards to the skating rink that's proposed. So this cleans that up and it makes some changes. The committee did listen, and it will only apply to the community park. So be it so resolved that under authority of Section 16 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town of Conception Bay South adopts amendment number 35, 2021 to the Conception Bay South Development Regulation. So moved.
Seconder,
I'll second that.
Councillor Tilley, discussion?
Yeah, Your Worship. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I just want to let everyone know that I'll be supporting this motion this evening. What we have planned for down behind this particular area in the community park, this change to the amendment certainly will help us develop what we want to put down there. Yes, we did have our public consultation process, and some people were I guess, against the proposal. But you know, there's times we got to make decisions that are for the greater good of the community, and you know, this is something that we've been wanting and needing for quite a few number of years now, and I'll definitely support this amendment.
Councillor Hillier?
Yes, Your Worship, as you're aware, I've expressed some concerns about the path of development for this park ever since from the inception back at the committee level a couple of years ago. I've spoken to it here, as Councillor Tilley indicates. The items going in that park, the people of Conception Bay South have been waiting for some time. My concern is that we maybe try and put too much in that park, and for that I will be voting against this evening.
Yeah, Your Worship, I don't know if anybody else got anything to say, but what I will suggest is that the committee did discuss a lot of those concerns. Planning is currently, the final plan for the park is not complete, but it's in process. And I think one of the concerns with regards to outdoor use and noise and so forth, it was recommended that we look at our development regulations and our regulations for all our parks in the upcoming future, so that they can be amended potentially to alleviate some residential concerns.
Yeah, and I just, if I could just add to a little bit. First of all, I know one of the concerns that came in from many of the residents in the area was, again, that it was going to be some kind of a concert venue. And that's certainly not council's intention, nowhere near that, as a matter of fact. So I just want to assure area residents that that's not our intent. This is not a, you know, a 3-day concert venue that's going to continue on well into the wee hours of the morning. That's certainly not our intent. But our intent is so that people throughout our whole town can go down there at some point down Life's Road, enjoy the open space, take their kayak and go around the inner harbor or canoe, enjoy the water lot access that we'll be providing for all our residents to use. And we'll have a parking lot, a playground down there that can be utilized by people with all sorts of disabilities. And of course, the splash pad and the combined oval skating rink is a combined skating oval, I should say, not a rink, a skating oval. So it's a community-based project, and I'm really looking forward to the day when we can go down and see people utilizing that piece of land that the town bought, I guess, back in 2015, 2016 for that purpose. So we'll see.
Great.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried.
And Your Worship, I'll pick up with number 3. 108 110 Garden Road. Recommendation, be it so resolved that application number 2021-018 received on February 15, 2021, seeking approval to develop a single dwelling at 108 to 110 Garden Road be refused in accordance with Council's discretionary authority at section 4.6 of the town development regulations in consideration that the application is premature due to an unresolved expropriation matter at the property. That the proposed development implies future subdivision of land that would result in properties that do not meet the minimum frontage requirements established by section 10.10.3 of the town's development regulations, and that the proposed location of the dwelling may result in the appearance of backlot development. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Butler, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And number 4, be it so resolved that application number COM-21-026 received on March 3rd, 2021, seeking approval for construction of a new commercial building at 3133 Wheelie Gardens be refused in accordance with council's authority at section 10.8 of the town's development regulations, given that the proposed showroom and warehouse uses are not listed as permitted uses within the residential medium density zone, and that construction of new buildings associated with legal non-conforming uses is not contemplated by section 108 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. So moved.
Seconder,
I'll second it.
Councillor Bursey, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship. Basically, we've got a business operating there in a residential area that's been going on there for some time. Council calls it a legal non-conforming use that we've allowed to stay there and will continue to stay there. However, we're not in a position to allow that non-conforming use to increase, which is what the proponent asked for in this application.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Number 5, 1643 Conception Bay Highway. Be it so resolved that the variance request received on February 16, 2021 in relation to application number 2020-041, seeking approval to reduce the lot area from 450 square meters to 405 square meters at 1643 Conception Bay Highway, be refused in accordance with council's discretionary authority at section 3.121 of the town's development regulations, given that compliance with the development standards for lot area would not prejudice the proper development of the property. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Uden, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And finally, Your Worship, the blanket recommendation. Be it so resolved that the decisions and recommendations made at the Planning and Development Committee meeting on March 9th, 2021 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Bent, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Hillier. Recommendations, the Engineering Public Works Committee, Councillor Gerard Tilley.
Thank you, Worship. The following are a presentation of our recommendations, our meeting held on March 9th, 2021. The first one is a tender approval for the purchase of 2 new tandem trucks. Of course, these dump trucks are part of the town's annual fleet maintenance replacement plan, and they were included for replacement in this upcoming budget 2021, and they will replace existing equipment that ranges from 14 to 17 years old. So be it so resolved that approval be given to award tender 21-02, purchase of 2 new 2021 or newer tandem trucks to a Royal Freightliner for the bid price of $620,983.90, including HST. Funds to be taken from the capital fleet account. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Butler, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. The second one has to do with a road closure policy. This policy provides written instructions for a verbal procedure that has been in place for some time. It allows an applicant to appropriately plan work who may require a road closure, while also providing the public significant notice of disruption to a variety of media sources. It also clearly defines the responsibility of the applicant to contact the appropriate emergency services, school systems, and other impacted parties. So be it so resolved that approval be given to accept the road closure policy as presented. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
Councillor Uden, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And your worship, before I read out the blanket recommendation, just want to send out a big kudos to our public works crews. They're working around the clock. Doesn't seem like we're having much snow as of the past couple of weeks, but we still have a job to do with snow removal and getting those sidewalks cleared, not only in the school zones but in the residential areas as well. So be patient. We're getting there, and hopefully we'll have them all cleared pretty soon and no more snow. So be it so resolved that the recommendation decisions made at our Engineering and Public Works Committee meeting of March 9, 2021 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Bent. Discussion. I just want to add to that, Councillor Tilley. A lot of times when you look out too and you think that there's nothing on the go, and was pretty looks like a calm night. In some parts of our town, because of elevation and so on, you could be dealing with significant ice conditions, and we could have our plows out throughout the night regularly going with salt and sand, or salt, I should say, to try to minimize some of that that's happening. So there's lots of things that they're at, even when there's no snow, or don't appear to be any snow, I should say.
Yeah. You can leave the bottom of Fox Bex's Road and the grass will be green, and you get in by Queen Elizabeth and it's a whiteout.
Yep, that's correct. Top of Fowler's Road, Legion Road, all the high points. So, all
That's
those
it
in
for public
favor?
works.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. Recommendations of the Recreation and Leisure Services Committee, Chair Councillor Junior Bursey.
Mr. Worship, want to give one blank recommendation for this evening. Be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Recreation and Leisure Service meeting on March 8th, 2021 be accepted and present. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Davis. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Bursey. Recommendations of the Financial Admin Services Committee, Chair Deputy Mayor Richard Murphy.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. First is the accounts payable check register. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay accounts payable checks totaling $629,153.57. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Hillier. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Next is the ratification of manual checks previously released. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify the payment of manual checks previously released totaling $250,853.14. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Butler. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
The next is capital invoices. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay capital invoices totaling $626,675.25 as listed below in the attached table. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Davis. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Next is tax and other receivables adjustments. Be it so resolved that approval be given to adjust tax and other receivables accounts as listed. So moved.
Seconder,
I second it.
Tilly. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And finally, the Financial and Administrative Services Committee report. Be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Financial and Administrative Services Committee meeting of March 9th, 2021 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
Councillor Hillier. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
That's it for that.
Thank you,
report, Your
Deputy Mayor
Worship. Thank
Murphy.
you.
Recommendations of the Economic Development and Tourism, Chair Councillor Cheryl Davis. Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Your Worship. The first one on our agenda, water lot lease policy. That's going to be deferred Your worship, this item, committee has some further work we'd like to get done on this before bringing it to council.
Okay.
So it's just our blanket statement. Be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting of March 9th, 2021 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
Councillor Bent. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. All right, moving right along. Other committee reports?
Your worship, if I could for a moment, it's not a committee report, but I noticed that Councillor Percy noted that our Winterfest online is starting this week earlier in the meeting. And actually Thursday night is the first event, and it is the Winterfest virtual trivia night. And I know that Councillor Tilley and a few other councillors were mainstays at the trivia we had last year. And it went really well, and it was organized really well by town staff. So I'd like to challenge all my fellow councillors, you mayor, to come on Thursday night at 7:00 and put your trivia knowledge on the line against me. And I can guarantee you one thing: you will have no competition from me as displayed through every session last year. I think I came in at 50 to 55% every time. So it's a great night of fun, and it kicks off our Winterfest. And you know, it's a nice hour or so, and the families get together and try their hand at it. So I'd like to see everybody that can make it to try to come out to that 7:00. You can register online in advance. Just go to our website or our Facebook. You can find the link and get involved. Councillor Tilley, are you in?
He wins every year, don't he, Councillor Tilley?
No, he's mad at it. Yeah.
So
I'm in.
my understanding is that the topic this year is news media, so I can see Councillor Bent, you're all eager to get everybody else in.
I would say I'll come in at about 20% on that one, Councillor Hillier.
News media and Edmonton Oilers hockey.
Edmonton Oilers hockey or 80s music, then I might have a chance, right?
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Have a good week. Stay safe
care. Good night.
as always. Call
Motion
for
to
motion to adjourn.
So moved.